Welcome to the story that changed the world forever. On September 11th, 2001, everything changed. Fear, war, and history were rewritten in a single day. Today we're diving deep into the War on Terror, a journey of power, pain, sacrifice, and truth. So sit back, stay with me, and witness the story that shapes the modern world. Let's begin. The War on Terror was a global campaign launched by the United States after the devastating terrorist attacks on September 11, 2001. It was not a traditional war against one country. It was a long fight against terrorist organizations, especially extremist Islamist groups. The main goals were: destroy terrorist networks, prevent future attacks, promote global security, capture or eliminate terrorist leaders. This war spread across multiple countries, including Afghanistan, Iraq, Pakistan, and Syria. The turning point, September 11th, 2001. The entire world changed on one day. September 11th attacks. On this day, 4 commercial airplanes were hijacked. Terrorists crashed, 2 into the World Trade Center, 1 into the Pentagon, 1 crashed in Pennsylvania after passengers fought back. Nearly 3,000 people died. Who was behind it? The attacks were carried out by the extremist group, al-Qaeda, led by Osama bin Laden. Their motives included opposition to U.S. presence in the Middle East, anger at U.S. support for Israel, and desire to establish strict Islamist rule. America responds. After 9/11, U.S. President George W. Bush declared a global war on terror. Key actions: declared that nations must choose. You are either with us or with the terrorists. Increased military readiness. Strengthened intelligence agencies. The first battlefield, Afghanistan. The U.S. quickly identified that al-Qaeda was being sheltered by Taliban in Afghanistan. Why Afghanistan? Taliban ruled the country, provided safe haven to Osama bin Laden. Operation Enduring Freedom, 2001. The U.S. launched its first major military operation, Operation Enduring Freedom. What happened? U.S. and allied forces invaded Afghanistan. Taliban government collapsed quickly. Al-Qaeda bases were destroyed. But Osama bin Laden escaped. The Battle of Tora Bora, one of the most critical moments. Battle of Tora Bora. U.S. forces surrounded cave complexes. Bin Laden narrowly escaped into Pakistan. This became a major controversy later. A new kind of war. The War on Terror was very different. Not a traditional war, no clear enemy country. Terrorists hidden among civilians. Guerrilla tactics used. Key challenges: intelligence gathering, identifying hidden networks, preventing lone wolf attacks. Changes inside the United States. After 9/11, America changed dramatically. New laws. USA Patriot Act. This law allowed increased surveillance, monitoring of communications, easier tracking of suspects. New department, Department of Homeland Security, created to protect borders, prevent terrorism, improve emergency response. Global impact begins. The War on Terror wasn't limited to the U.S. Countries joined the fight: UK, NATO allies, others across Europe and Asia. NATO invoked Article 5 for the first time: collective defense. Early controversies. Even in the early phase, criticism started. Human rights concerns, prisoners held without trial, torture allegations. Example: Guantanamo Bay detention camp. The war expands. Soon, the focus shifted beyond Afghanistan. The U.S. government began to argue terrorism was linked to other regimes. Some countries supported or harbored terrorists. Part 2. The Iraq War, Insurgency, and the Rise of ISIS. The shift toward Iraq. After the initial invasion of Afghanistan, the U.S. government under George W. Bush began focusing on another country: Iraq. Why Iraq? The U.S. claimed that Iraq, led by Saddam Hussein, was developing weapons of mass destruction, WMDs, supporting terrorist groups, a threat to global security. However, these claims were highly controversial. The Iraq War begins, 2003. The invasion started in March 2003. Iraq War. Key events and coalition forces launched massive airstrikes. Shock and awe campaign devastated Iraqi defenses. Baghdad fell within weeks. IBD, Baghdad was captured quickly. Fall of Saddam Hussein. Saddam Hussein's government collapsed. He went into hiding. Later captured in December 2003. IBD, he was eventually executed in 2006. The WMD controversy. After the invasion, no weapons of mass destruction were found. This led to global criticism of the U.S., loss of trust internationally, questions about intelligence failures, rise of insurgency in Iraq. After Saddam's fall, Iraq did not become stable. Instead, a violent insurgency began. Who were the insurgents? Former Iraqi soldiers, Sunni militant groups, foreign fighters. Tactics: suicide bombings, roadside bombs, IEDs, guerrilla warfare. Sectarian violence. Iraq fell into civil conflict. Sunni versus Shia Muslims. Ethnic and religious divisions deepened. Cities like Baghdad, Fallujah became major battlegrounds. The emergence of al-Qaeda in Iraq. A new group formed, al-Qaeda in Iraq, led by Abu Musab al-Zarqawi. Their actions: brutal attacks on civilians, beheadings and propaganda videos, forces and Iraqi civilians. Media and psychological warfare. Terror groups used media strategically. Internet videos, fear-based propaganda, global recruitment. This changed modern warfare forever. U.S. struggles in Iraq. The U.S. faced major problems: no clear exit strategy, rising casualties, increasing costs, trillions of dollars. Public opinion in America began to shift against the war. The Surge Strategy 2007. To regain control, the U.S. launched Iraq War Troop Surge. What it involved: sending thousands of additional troops, securing major cities, working with local Sunni tribes. It reduced violence temporarily. Attempt at stability. The U.S. tried to rebuild Iraq. New government formed, elections held, security forces trained, but instability remained. U.S. withdrawal from Iraq. Under President Barack Obama, the U.S. began withdrawing troops. By 2011, most U.S. forces left Iraq. Power vacuum and chaos. Withdrawal. Iraqi government weakened. Sectarian tensions returned. Militants regained strength. This created the perfect conditions for a new threat: the rise of ISIS. Out of the chaos emerged ISIS, also called ISIL or Daesh. Leader: Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi. ISIS declares a caliphate. 2014. ISIS shocked the world by capturing large parts of Iraq and Syria, declaring a caliphate. Capital: Raqqa, Syria. 28. Extreme brutality. ISIS became known for mass executions, enslavement, beheadings, destruction of cultural heritage. Their propaganda spread fear globally. Global terror attacks. ISIS inspired and directed attacks worldwide: Europe, Middle East, Asia. Examples include attacks in Paris, London, Istanbul. The fight against ISIS. A global coalition formed: U.S., NATO allies, local forces. Key strategy: airstrikes, support for local fighters, intelligence operations. Fall of ISIS territory. Major victories: Mosul, Iraq retaken, Raqqa, Syria captured. By 2019, ISIS lost most of its territory. Death of ISIS leader. In 2019, death of Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi. U.S. forces killed al-Baghdadi. Major symbolic victory. Part 3. The Hunt for bin Laden. Afghanistan War and the Taliban's return. The hunt for Osama bin Laden, after escaping during the Battle of Tora Bora. The world's most wanted man, Osama bin Laden, remained hidden for nearly a decade. How the U.S. tracked him. Intelligence agencies like the CIA followed couriers. Surveillance and informants were used. Years of secret operations led to a breakthrough. His location was finally traced to Abbottabad, Pakistan. Operation Neptune Spear, 2011. In May 2011, the U.S. launched a secret mission, Operation Neptune Spear, led by Barack Obama. What happened? U.S. Navy SEALs entered Pakistan secretly, raided bin Laden's compound, killed him during the operation. His body was buried at sea. Global reaction. Celebrations in the U.S., relief worldwide, but also debates about legality and ethics. Long war in Afghanistan. Even after bin Laden's death, the war in Afghanistan continued. Why did the war last so long? Taliban regrouped in rural areas, difficult mountainous terrain, weak Afghan government, corruption and instability. Taliban insurgency returns. The group, Taliban, slowly rebuilt its strength. Their strategy: guerrilla warfare, attacks on Afghan forces, control of rural regions. They waited patiently for U.S. withdrawal. Strategy. Different presidents handled the war differently. Under George W. Bush, focus on removing Taliban, early military success. Under Barack Obama, increased troop levels, Afghan surge, focus on counterterrorism, killed bin Laden. Under Donald Trump, negotiated with Taliban, planned troop withdrawal, Doha Agreement 2020. A key turning point. Doha Agreement. Agreement terms: U.S. would withdraw troops, Taliban would reduce violence, Taliban would not support terrorists. But the Afghan government was weak in the deal. Final U.S. withdrawal, 2021. Under President Joe Biden, the U.S. completed its withdrawal. What happened? U.S. troops left Afghanistan. Afghan forces collapsed quickly. The Taliban advanced rapidly. Sukkot Kabul, fall of Kabul. In August 2021, fall of Kabul. Taliban captured the capital. Afghan president fled. Government collapsed. Chaos at the airport. Scenes at Hamid Karzai International Airport shocked the world. Thousands tried to escape. People clung to airplanes. Panic and fear everywhere. Kabul airport attack. During evacuation, Kabul airport attack. Suicide bombing killed civilians and U.S. troops, carried out by ISIS-K. Was the war won or lost? This is still debated. Arguments for success: Osama bin Laden killed, al-Qaeda weakened, major terror attacks reduced. Arguments for failure: Taliban returned to power, massive cost, trillions of dollars, thousands of lives lost, regional instability remains. Human cost: estimated impact: hundreds of thousands dead, millions displaced, soldiers and civilians affected. Economic cost: over $2 trillion spent by the U.S. Long-term economic burden. Global consequences: the war on terror changed the world. Security: increased airport checks, global surveillance. Politics: rise of nationalism, Middle East instability. Society: Islamophobia increased, refugee crises. Psychological impact: fear of terrorism worldwide, trauma among soldiers and civilians, generational effects. Terrorism evolves. Even today, terror groups still exist, use social media, operate in decentralized networks. Key lessons: military power alone cannot defeat ideology. Nation building is extremely difficult. Intelligence is crucial. Long wars have unpredictable outcomes. Part 4. Secret operations, drone warfare, and modern intelligence. The shadow war begins. Beyond visible battlefields like Iraq and Afghanistan, the U.S. launched a hidden war, a covert war led by intelligence agencies, especially the CIA. This shadow war included secret missions, targeted killings, cyber surveillance, spy networks across the world. Targeted killings. Instead of large invasions, the U.S. began focusing on eliminating high-value targets, terrorist leaders. How? Intelligence tracking, precision strikes, special forces raids. This strategy aimed to reduce large-scale war and destroy leadership structures of terror groups. Rise of drone warfare. One of the most important developments, use of unmanned aerial vehicles, drones. Example, MQ-9 Reaper. How drones work, controlled remotely, equipped with cameras and missiles, can stay in air for hours. Where drones were used, Pakistan, Yemen, Somalia, Afghanistan. Soldiers. Highly precise targeting. Quick response. Controversies. Civilian casualties. Violations of sovereignty. Ethical debates. Why many questioned, is this justice or assassination? Cyber warfare and surveillance. The war on terror entered the digital age. Key tools, internet monitoring, phone tracking, data analysis. Agency involved, National Security Agency. Mass surveillance programs, collected global communication data, monitored emails and calls. Edward Snowden revelations, 2013. A major turning point. Edward Snowden revealed secret surveillance programs, global spying activities. Impact, global outrage, debate on privacy versus security, strained relations with allies. Interrogation and torture controversy. The U.S. used enhanced interrogation techniques. Example, waterboarding. Where? Guantanamo Bay detention camp. Criticism, human rights violations, illegal under international law, damaged U.S. image globally. Intelligence networks. The war on terror relied heavily on informants, double agents, local allies. Key strategy, human intelligence, HUMINT. This involved infiltrating terror groups, gathering inside information. Technology and warfare. Modern tools used, satellites, AI-based analysis, facial recognition. Result, faster and more accurate targeting. Special Forces operations. Elite forces played a crucial role. Navy SEALs. Their missions, rescue hostages, capture kill terrorists, conduct secret raids. Famous example, Operation Neptune Spear. Expansion into Africa. The war on terror spread into Africa. Key regions, Somalia, Libya, Mali. Groups targeted, al-Shabaab, ISIS affiliates. Rise of lone wolf attacks. Terrorism evolved again. New threat, individuals acting alone. Characteristics, inspired online. No direct group connection, hard to detect. Social media and radicalization. Platforms became tools for recruitment, propaganda, training. Groups like ISIS used Twitter, Telegram, YouTube. Legal and ethical debates. Major questions arose. Is surveillance violating freedom? Are drone strikes legal? Should suspects get trials? Conflict. Security versus freedom. Psychological warfare. Modern terror groups use fear tactics, media manipulation, viral content, hedef. Not just physical damage, but mental fear. Endless war. Many experts believe the war on terror has no clear end. Terrorism keeps evolving. Strategic shift. Moved from large wars, small targeted operations. Focus now. Intelligence, technology, partnerships. Part 5. Complete timeline, 2001 to 2025. Here is a clear, powerful timeline of the war on terror. 2001. September 11th attacks. U.S. launches Operation Enduring Freedom. 2003. Iraq War begins. Fall of Saddam Hussein. 2006. Execution of Saddam Hussein. Insurgency peaks in Iraq. 2007. Iraq War troop surge. 2011. Operation Neptune Spear. Death of Osama bin Laden. U.S. withdraws from Iraq. 2014. Rise of ISIS. ISIS declares caliphate. 2017 to 2019. Fall of ISIS territories. Death of Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi. 2020, Doha Agreement. 2021, Fall of Kabul, U.S. exits Afghanistan. 2022 to 2025, terror threats continue globally. Shift to cyber plus intelligence warfare. Final analysis. Was the war successful? Successes. Eliminated top leaders like Osama bin Laden, weakened major terror networks, prevented large-scale attacks in U.S. Failures. Taliban returned to power. Iraq destabilized. Rise of ISIS. Massive human and financial cost. Human cost. 800,000 plus deaths estimated. Millions displaced. Lifelong trauma. Economic cost. Over $2 trillion spent. Long-term impact on U.S. economy. Global impact. Security. Airports, borders tightened. Politics, Middle East instability. Society, Islamophobia increased. Refugee crises. Wars can destroy enemies. But can they destroy ideas? That's a question the world is still trying to answer. Thank you for watching the story of the War on Terror.